Booker.
Here.
Valerie.
Here.
Steve Schultz.
Here.
Excellent. Is there anybody else that's on that I didn't call the name? Hearing none, we'll move on. You have a quorum. There's a couple of things I want to deal with tonight. I think the first, foremost, and most important, or one of the more important things we need to do is just decide on the leadership for the Republican caucus. The way I recall happening, if I Mr. Kelly. And if that's accurate, and several of you that seem to remember it the same way, in the rules that Mr. Kelly sent out, it shows that since Mr. Boomer is left, I would move to chair, Mr. Kelly would move to vice chair, and we would need to elect another secretary. Does anybody disagree with that process? I'll take the silence as that we agree with that's what needs to happen. I know normally in years past we've written that on a ballot and kind of did a more of a secret. Other than any one of you guys will be willing to be step up and be nominated.
Keith, I don't know if I'm the only one who's experiencing this, but I am missing a lot of what you're saying. I don't know if the quality of your internet service is real good, but I missed the large portion of your explanation.
Same here. Yep, same here. It sounds like Keith, you're playing a banjo or something.
All right. Thank you. I am on wireless, and for next meetings, I'll hook up to wired. I don't know if talking slower would help any. Does slower help?
Same here.
This is Gus. Keith, Keith, this is Gus. Zoom is indicating your internet connection is bad. So if you can go wired, that'd be great.
I'm gonna log in on my phone and see if I can get a better connection. Hey, Gus, do I need to log out of this? Log into my phone?
Are you wired now? Go ahead and just give it a go, Keith, to go from wireless to wired.
I don't have a wireless string over to this current computer. I'm trying to log in on my phone. Should I log out with the
Why don't you just turn off your video and let's see how that goes for your voice.
does that help my voice at all?
Does for me. I don't know if it does for others. Keith, you could call in instead of being on your computer in this meeting.
Let me give that a whirl. Do I need to log out of this one to use my phone, Gus?
No, you can go, you can, probably best to log out of this and then just dial in, and so you participate as a conference call. And it's in that email, the number to call.
Keith's on the move.
Is this any better? That was not fun. Is my audio any better now?
So far, so good.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Let the record reflect Ms. Crosby is in attendance now as well. What I was saying earlier was that with Mr. Boomer leaving, the way I talked to a few of you, the way I remember it and several others, Boomer was chair, I was vice chair, and Mr. Kelly was secretary. In the rules that Mr. Kelly sent out the other day, it shows that in Boomer's absence, I would move to chair, Mr. Kelly moved to vice chair, and then we would need to nominate and elect a secretary. Does anybody disagree with that process?
No.
No.
Do I have any nominations for a secretary? What about Mr. Arena? Do you have time to play secretary during our caucus, sir, if I nominate?
Yeah, I can do it.
So I would nominate Mr. Arena if there's a second to it, unless somebody else is interested, that we could do, according to the rules, we can nominate a couple people and
I'll second the nomination for Paul.
are there any other nominations? It looks like if we had multiple, we'd have 3 minutes to speak, but we don't. So all those in favor of Mr. Arena becoming the secretary signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Arena. You're our new secretary for the caucus.
Thank you.
Two other things I'd like to address while we've got everybody together. One is I was hoping Mr. Billick would be with us, but the $250,000 host fee. I was contacted by Mayor Jury yesterday. I didn't realize that this was it's a loan program and it's not a give. That might make some difference to me. If anybody on that committee has got a copy of it, Mr. Chapman, do you know if that's been sent out yet? The copy of that?
Haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
I guess my comment would be that whether it's going to be a loan program or not, it's not a loan from us, it's a gift from us that would be then subsequently put into a revolving loan fund. And that's the objection that I have, is that we're giving that 250,000 at a time when we need to be more cautious about our finances.
And I do agree with you. I was told that it would be paid back to the host fees. And that's why I'm checking with Mr. Chapman to see if indeed it's coming back to the host fees at the end of the year or not. Mr. Butte, I see you have your hand up, sir.
Yeah, Keith, or Ms. McDowell, thanks. I had some confusion on that myself. And so I reached out to John Phelps from the Rockford Local Development Corporation. And he was a lot of information that he gave me. And I probably won't bore you with all of the things that he told me, but it is a loan. In this program that he's operating under is going to end at the end of the year. So that this fund that's being put together by these 7 banks in the city of Rockford, Loves Park, and potentially the county is going to return to us. There is a risk reward. We have to loan the money. If the loans fail, obviously, part of our principal would not return to us. But based on a lot of things that I talked to with Mr. Phelps, in addition to his track record with the funds that the county is that he's administered, I feel comfortable. He's probably, I would say at this point in time, one of the leading local experts on commercial lending, and he's done pretty well by our money so far. So it is a loan. We will see the money back by the end of the year. And if you have any questions, I would contact Mr. Phelps. He can give you a lot of info.
Thank you, Mr. Butte. And that's what I understand as well. And if Mayor Jury said it right, the business has to have a track record of 3 years of profit, meaning it can't be somebody that just opened 9 months ago and is likely not to survive anyways. So there is a credential. And the purpose of 90 to 120 day bridge loan, just for the purpose of getting them until the SBA loans come in. Mr. Chapman, do you have anything on that you can email out that you've sent out to economic developer or anything so the rest of us can take a look at it?
Can't hear you.
You're still on mute, Mr. Chapman. Still on mute, Mr. Chapman. We can see your lips move.
There we go. I don't have any documents right now. I know there's some information that was sent to Chris from John Phelps. Let me see what I can get and send out to the board.
Steve, is it your understanding too that it's just a loan for businesses that have been at least 3 years profitable?
I'm not aware of what the regs are as far as I haven't read the information that I received. So I guess I'll reserve judgment till I read it.
Thank you. And that being said, I still maintain my position. I know I sent Mr. Chapman an email. He's gotten a couple replies from what I've seen as far as what this coronavirus is going to do to our budget. I'm still in favor of withholding BMO, Nicholas, and whoever else that are closed even right now, that maybe we can keep some of those funds for ourselves. That way we don't have to lay off state's attorneys or wherever the case may be at that time. Mr. Kelly, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I do. My understanding is that the money is a grant to this fund, and the fund lends money. I don't think they're planning on repaying us for the original grant.
Yeah. I according to John Phelps in my conversation with him yesterday, it is a loan. It would definitely come back to us. The principal would, according to John Phelps.
If the principal's returning, I'm more apt to support it, but if it's not, I strongly with Mr. Schultz that we should be spending dollars right now.
Well, obviously we'll have an opportunity to look at this more at the committee level once it gets, I assume it's coming to the Economic Development Committee, hopefully next week, I guess. So we'll be able to research it a little more.
Are there any other comments about the host fee? The $200,000?
This is Steve, Keith. I'm hoping we're going to have a caucus on this coming Monday. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir, it is.
Good.
I'll be wired next time, so I don't have the technical difficulties of this evening. If there's no other discussion about the host fee, I would just like to put out that obviously we have a vacancy in District 4. There's only one name that I'm aware of thus far. If anybody else has any people up there that would be a good fit for our Republican caucus, please reach out to them. I'm considering, Frank Haney put out the email about how to apply. I'm wondering, like, VFW maybe to post it there or do something, get it out in the community. But I encourage each and every one of you, if you know anybody up there in District 4, try to get the names out. Ms. Crosby.
Who do you know that is interested?
It was a small business owner by the name of Mike Vaughn. He owned a bar and restaurant, and he still owns a heating and air conditioning place.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not supporting or endorsing. I'm just bringing names and allowing the process to happen.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, this is Steve. I know historically the precinct committeemen have from the area have played a critical role in identifying people to fill a seat.
Yes, I talked with Mr. Boomer last Friday, and he indicated he hasn't gotten any names yet either. So I'm trying to shovel him names. That's why I called Mr. Boomer, and then I sent this gentleman's information to Mr. Boomer for him to talk to, because Mr. Boomer is elected PC up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Keith?
Go ahead, Mr. Butita.
Yeah. Is it my understanding now? I guess I thought that the appointment would be for the balance of the term, but I thought I read somewhere it's only until November. So is there going to be a special election?
I see Mr. Chapman shaking his head. Yes. What do you know? You got a lot of.
I believe the appointment just goes through November. And as far as the process in terms of, I don't know if the parties would have to slate someone or whatever for the election in November, but the term, since it's more than 24 months, an individual would have to be elected in November.
I see.
Ms. Crosby, was your hand up?
Yes, it was. So did Mike Vaughn come forward on himself, or was he recommended by somebody else?
He came forward on his own.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other matters for tonight's caucus? Anything else that we need to talk about this evening, Mr. Arena?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had some communication with Mr. Chapman about a complaint I received on animal control, that they suspended picking up stray dogs because of the virus. And I was hoping that Mr. Fiducia would be on the call tonight. I wanted to see if we could talk about it at a Personnel and Policy Committee tomorrow, just so that we're all on the same page with it, I guess. It would effectively mean that for the length of time that this goes on, we're not going to pick up any stray dogs. And I don't really see why the virus should interfere with that activity. So I'd at least like to have more of a conversation. Mr. Chapman did send me some information from a professional association for animal control that had that recommendation, but I still think we need to talk about it because I think could have a significant effect.
Mr. Chapman, do you have anything to add to that? And after that, I'll go to Mr. Kelly.
Yes, so to involve Brett Frazier, the guy in charge out there. Find out what he's got to say.
Well, I think I did forward an email to Paul relating to that, but we can have further conversation.
It doesn't sound like we have any resolution or ending to this. We don't have a solid answer, but Mr. Chapman, are you working with Mr. Frazier to get an answer?
Yes, I am. I mean, I think they have concerns about their officers being out there in relation to dealing with some of the public and so on. And I think, we're trying to, I guess, avoid that as much as possible. I know Brett has indicated that as the spring months come in, we're going to probably have to alter we're currently doing, and in terms of the picking up the strays and so on. So I think we probably need to get more information from Brett based on, what he foresees in the future.
Ms. Crosby.
From what I understand, and I just went through the Department of Commerce website regarding essential and non-essential businesses, and the animal welfare comes under essential. I don't see why picking up a stray threatens an employee. So I'm on Paul Arena's page here. I went through the website, and government entities such as animal services is an essential service. So I'm not sure why they would send out anything that said they're non-essential. So we need to check into that.
I agree with you. I think it is a public safety issue. If a dog was to bite somebody, it would definitely become a public safety issue. I would strongly encourage Mr. Frazier to resume picking up strays. Did you have something to add, Mr. Chapman?
No, I mean, I understand what you're saying. However, we are responding to emergencies, bites, things such as that. So it's not like we're not out there not picking up anything. So I think it's somewhat discretionary on the part of the officers and so on. Again, we consider animal services essential, but at the same time, and it's open, but at the same time, you're supposed to, try and somewhat avoid contact with, other individuals for the safety of the officer and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Crosby.
Steve's right. And I think it needs to be communicated to the public that anything that puts the public at true risk, like a bite or something, is definitely an essential service, but they're not going to go out on every call because some stray goes through somebody's backyard. I think that makes sense.
Any other discussion on this matter? Is there any other new business or anything we should talk about, or I'll entertain a motion to adjourn if not?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you guys very much. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hasta
Thank you.
mañana.